Hey there, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on something called broadcast monitoring. It's this whole invisible world of tech that makes sure the show you're watching looks and sounds exactly right, every single time.
And just a quick heads up, this is part 21 of a much bigger 40-part series all about modern broadcast studios. So today we're really zooming in on this one super important piece of the puzzle, making sure the signal is perfect. All right, let's get into it.
So, you ever wonder about this? How does a broadcaster actually know their signal is flawless? I mean, with millions of people watching, you can't just cross your fingers and hope for the best. You need to be absolutely certain that what leaves the studio is what people see at home.
And that really gets to the heart of it, the stakes involved here. We're talking about guarding the signal, and that's not just about making the picture look nice. It's way more fundamental than that. I love this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. You wouldn't want to be in a plane where the pilot is just kind of guessing the altitude, right? Same thing here. Without the right tools, a tiny little error that nobody notices can spiral into a massive on-air disaster.
So when you boil it all down, there are really two big things pushing all this monitoring. First, there's the viewer experience. Nobody wants to see weird colors or hear scratchy audio. But then, and this is huge, there are the legal obligations. Broadcasters have a whole bunch of rules they have to follow just to keep their license.
So how do they do it? Well, to guard that precious signal, broadcast engineers have this whole toolkit of specialized gear that lets them see and measure basically every part of the audio and video.
First up, you've got the waveform monitor. The easiest way to think about this is like a super-powered light meter for the video itself. It shows the brightness, or what engineers call luminance. It helps them make sure the bright whites aren't so bright they lose all detail, that's called clipping, and that the dark areas aren't just a black blob, which is called crushing. Super important stuff. And then you have its partner, the vector scope. This thing is all about color. It plots all the color information, the chrominance, on this cool circular chart. An engineer can look at it and know instantly if the colors are right, like, is that Coke can the right shade of red? And just as importantly, if the colors are within legal broadcast limits. Yep, there are rules for that too.
And of course, we can't forget about what we hear. Audio meters today are way more than just those little green and red bars. The big deal now is loudness. You know how commercials used to be way louder than the show? Well, there are now strict regulations to stop that. And these sophisticated loudness meters are how broadcasters prove they're following the rules. And if you look at a modern loudness meter, you can see just how complex it is. It's not just one number. It's tracking the long-term or integrated loudness over the whole show, the short-term loudness from moment to moment, and something called true peak to make sure there's no nasty digital distortion. It's a lot to keep an eye on.
Last but not least in the main toolkit is the spectrum analyzer. This is like having X-ray vision for your audio. It lets engineers see the entire frequency range, which is perfect for hunting down problems you can't hear easily, like a weird electrical hum or some radio interference sneaking into the signal.
Okay, so you've got all these awesome tools, but that doesn't mean you can just set it and forget it. Real quality control is actually a partnership between automated systems that run 24/7 and the good old-fashioned judgment of a human expert.
Think about it. A computer is amazing at catching technical stuff. It'll scream if there's a black frame, or if the audio goes silent, or if the closed captions disappear. But a computer can't tell you if a shot is just framed poorly, or if the focus is a little soft, or if an edit just feels clunky. That's where you need a person. You need both to get it right.
All right, let's circle back to the legal side of things. Because, like we said, a huge part of this is just about staying within the rules. Broadcasters have to follow these regulations to the letter, and monitoring is how they prove they're doing it.
And the list of things they have to track is pretty long. You've got audio loudness, making sure closed captions are there and in sync, verifying that emergency alerts actually get broadcast, displaying the right content ratings, and even checking that the little digital markers for ad breaks are in the right spot for cable companies. It's a whole checklist.
Now, this is where it all starts to come together in the modern world. Today's control room looks less like an old TV studio and a lot more like a data center. And for anyone with an IT background watching this is where your skills are becoming absolutely critical.
You see, the big win here is what we call unified visibility. When your video and audio signals are just data on a network, an engineer can see a video glitch and then immediately check to see if there was a network error or a server spike at the exact same time. It makes finding the real cause of a problem so much faster.
And if you're in IT, this probably looks really familiar. Measuring things against a spec, you do that.
Creating alerts when something crosses a line, that's your bread and butter. Tying different systems together with things like SNMP or APIs, that's a core IT skill. You're just applying the exact same logic to a new kind of data, video and audio stream.
So that leaves us with this big, interesting question to chew on. As everything in broadcasting becomes just another stream of packets on a network, is the broadcast engineer of the future basically an IT expert who's just looking at a different kind of data? It's a fascinating thought about where this is all headed.